Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the God of Knicks podcast. I'm your host, Apollo Reed. I'm here with the big bro, Andre Jalil. How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, baby bro. How you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a
Merry
while since.
Christmas.
Yes. Holidays. If you're wondering why it's been few and far between, it's mostly holidays. You
All
know,
kinds of going around.
all kinds of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, Knicks today took care of Minnesota Timberwolves, 96-88. Um, it was a game that was hard to watch, as most of the games are, unfortunately, at this point. But we we struggle with these teams for some reason, especially guys, and it bothered me tonight because there was a bunch of guys on that team that weren't really members of that franchise. You talk about Carl Anthony Towns, you talk about Anthony Edwards, they just weren't there. You talk about D'Angelo Russell, who wasn't there. So we shouldn't have struggled as much as we did with these guys. But neither here nor there. 96-88, we won. Hell of a first half, or first quarter, I should say.
Yeah, the second
Um,
quarter. The end of the second quarter.
yeah.
We didn't score the last 4 minutes.
It was kind of bad at the end there. But during the height of it, it looked pretty good. Kemba was out there doing his thing. Tell me what you saw from these guys.
Um, I think thank God we got RJ Barrett on our team.
Yeah, good one.
I saw the same thing you saw, Cat.
Yeah,
There was a lot of things where you like watching it. It's like, come on.
yeah.
You're like overpassing.
Hmm.
I love Obi Toppin. He's scared to make moves. Like I think everybody
Still,
don't.
yeah,
No one wants to. Nobody wants to make the wrong play.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to see a confident Obi Toppin. More players are coming back. Uh, I think RJ Barrett stunk it up for a lot of the game, and it seemed like he redeemed himself a little bit towards the end there.
Yeah.
And that was it was like a relief that he did. He was like one for I forgot what it was for a long time. He was like 0 for 4, 0
He was
for
0
5.
for 0 for 6, I believe, before he made his first shot.
Yeah. And then he started to wake up. Then it was bad shots. It was just bad shots. He was left-handed. He tried to pass it at one point.
Mm.
When he should have just tried. He was driving to his left. He had it, and he just tried to give it to Mitch, who was thinking what I was thinking. That you gonna go take the shot.
Well, I mean, that
Man,
play, I saw that people would have been upset at him for that play. I'm not too mad at him for that play because he made a decision. People,
pass the rock.
well, not even just to pass the rock. I think it was the guy closed out, the center closed out more than he thought he would. So he had less of a shot. So, last second decision, he tried to make the pass to Mitch, and Mitch just didn't expect it.
Yeah,
But
it's just a matter of aggression. I
yeah,
think there needs to be like an aggressive thing, like yo, dunk it on that dude, man. Like this is a
yeah.
game you got to demoralize somebody sometime.
Hmm.
I think that what else I saw was they were trying to shoot over the zone a lot of the game, and
Yeah,
while Grimes was doing it when he was knocking it down because he was hot for a little while,
yeah.
and he was hurting them. And he was doing some heat checks. He was doing some shooting a lot more. I
Hmm.
mean, if it goes
Hmm.
down, it's a great game. But they were trying to shoot over the zone. I don't know if the Knicks have the answer for that zone quite yet. They can't do because
Hmm.
Kemba Walker's looking real good in the pick and roll with Mitch, and Mitch got a lot of putbacks. He looked good tonight. He had a little spring in his step. I think he's getting back to how he should be playing to like his feel. Our starting five was the starting five we were supposed to have. They
Hmm.
didn't look terrible all game. I don't know with the lineups. It was just I think the Knicks are still lucky that Minnesota shot as horribly as they shot.
Yeah, yeah,
Minnesota couldn't knock down anything for a while. We couldn't.
yeah.
4 minutes in the last 4 minutes of the second quarter,
Right.
the Knicks stunk it all the way up. Then it continued into the third. They couldn't hit for like the first few minutes. So it was just like, oh man, what's going on?
Yeah.
I was wondering how long that dry spell was going to last. But I'm happy that they came out with the W. They closed the game like they should have. I think that RJ stepped up at the end. I think Kemba Walker looked good pretty much that whole game. Did you see that one point when Tibbs threw his head back and was like, where's Carl Anthony Towns when you need him? So,
Nah, I didn't see that part.
but Mitchell was looking good though, man. Mitchell did his thing. Also, our old timer was looking good.
Yeah.
What
Um.
did you you
Yeah,
see, Cap? Like, what it look like to you, man?
yeah. I mean, I just wanted to see what you had saw. I mean, it was the three things I feel like we struggle with the most. Of course, was the zone. Whenever they throw the zone at us, we just don't have the answers to it.
Yeah.
Which is why Grimes played as much as he did, especially because RJ just wasn't. He was clanking everything.
Oh God.
Um, so, and I think it's a rhythm thing with RJ. He's not as much of a shooter as Quentin. So in that position, I can see Quentin getting into more rhythm faster than RJ, which he did, but then he couldn't hit anything in the second half. So which just happens. You know what I'm saying? That happens with players who can be streak shooters. He's a rookie also. But the free throws, I think there were 6 for 16. They ended up at that. This is just probably the
That was
worst.
that. This game would have been easily.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
would
if
have
you
this
make
game in the bag.
you make eight of those, just give me eight,
Yeah.
7, even 7. And then what do we win by?
Six
We
more.
won.
Like, yeah, we won like six more, and it wouldn't be so bad.
Right, we already won by 8 points. You know what I'm saying? Six to eight more free throws. Just knock these free throws down. I mean, to the point where Kemba struggled with them. RJ, of course. Julius, of course.
That's,
Um, even Alec Burks was struggling with him.
you know,
It's just ridiculous
the
sometimes.
thing. Yeah, it just wasn't. It was like nobody had rhythm.
Yeah,
It was one of those ugly games, and it's not one of those things. Just like the Knicks are horrible. I
right.
think it's just one of those games. They look bad. I don't know if they were motivated because Minnesota's not a team to get motivated for, and
Mm-hmm.
we always talk about how the Knicks play down to their competition.
Mm-hmm.
So this wasn't. It was like that's why I'm like I'm glad we pulled this one out. Like if Minnesota had one of those good games, you know what I'm saying? It would be a different outcome.
Yeah.
But of course I'm glad we got this W because we need it. Would it be 16 and 18?
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, you got to be thankful if you're a Knicks fan that
as
the
bad as we
Timberwolves,
look,
yeah, the Timberwolves shot as bad as they did because we shot terribly. I mean, there was some shots that we took.
40%.
Um, we were 41% from the field,
Yeah, and the Timberwolves were 40.
and Timberwolves were 40. I mean, thank God that they shot terribly because if they didn't, they would have beat us. Just that
16
simple.
turnovers. 16 turnovers we had.
Ugh. Which a lot of those came late. A lot of those came late.
You know
They
what?
they only had 10 turnovers.
You know
You
what
know what I
drives me
mean?
absolutely crazy? There was a point where the Knicks started to come back, and then it looks like it keeps happening to me. I don't know.
Mhm.
Tell me if you see it. It looks like Julius Randle's trying to take it from there, and he
What do you
tries
mean?
to
Like
turn up and do
he
something.
tries to be the guy to
Yeah, at
yeah.
the end, it's like the Knicks already made the comeback. Now he wants to dribble and dribble and dribble. He wants to take it into the paint. He gets deep in there and has nowhere to go, and then he's trying to kick it out late. He's always trying to see if he could do it first and then kick it out later. He's not making the play. He's
Mhm.
trying to create the play. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's annoying to see because it's like it takes too long. We get lucky if we score. Mitchell Robinson was a godsend in a lot of these plays. He was doing putbacks.
Yeah.
Kemba
Mhm.
Walker shot I think he shot a air ball at one point, but he got it and put it back.
You grab the rebound, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, yo, Mitch down there, it was like he was looking good. Like tonight, he didn't have to create anything, which I don't think he ever created a shot.
Right.
He was
Right.
getting
Yeah.
rebounds, bringing it back, bringing it down, putting it back up. He was doing like putbacks, putback dunks. So
Yeah,
that's
I think when you put Mitch back into the starting lineup, you kind of this is what you expect from Mitch. This is what we all expected from Mitch, game
right.
after game after game after game.
Yeah.
The fact that there's games where you're getting like 2 points, 2 rebounds, that should never happen. That's effort. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But I also think there's something to it of Kemba and other guys starting to utilize him more in the pick and roll and getting him more involved there because if he's not involved there, then he doesn't feel into it. I think there was a couple games ago. He had went and tweeted or put something out as usual that Mitch does every year, where he has something to say about how he's feeling, and then it's on something that only lasts for 24 hours, and then it's gone. But we're left here thinking that there's drama, which happens all too often with Mitch. I think he wears his heart in his sleeve. But a game like tonight, you gotta tip your hat to him. 14 to 18,
40
14
points in the paint.
points, 14 points,
Not
18
all Mitch.
rebounds. Yeah. Not on Mitch, of course. He was 7 for 8 from the field. 12 defensive rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds. which is why we missed him so much last year. Is just these two numbers here. You know,
He's
the
a leading
82 and
scorer.
18
They
and
said
12.
that he was a leading scorer tonight.
He was our leading scorer tonight. I mean, Julius Randle had 13 points. RJ Barrett had 8. Evan Fournier had 13. Kemba had
Julius
10.
Randle had 13 points.
Quentin Grimes had 11. Quickly 6. Burks 7. Obi 7.
Hey, let me
Um,
ask you something.
what's up?
Do you think Julius Randle on another team? Would you
No,
if it's your team,
no,
is he the number one or the number
no,
two?
no. Before you
Is he
even
the number
get
two?
it out, it's either number 2. It depends on what number 1 is. Julius Randle can be a number. He can be a number 2 if you don't have the ball in his hands all the time. You got to have somebody who's going to take the ball out of his hands. If
Yeah,
he's going
he's
to be
not
running
like
the majority of the offense and playmaking and bringing the ball up, that's not going to work.
he's not my one or two. Like if I got Julius Randle, he's you. This is the play, bro. Depending on the matchup on that night, depends on how much you get the ball, how much of a green light you get that night. You're not getting the green light every night. Sorry.
I mean, I think Julius Randle's green light depends on how he's playing. You know what I mean? Like, you never know what Julius you're going to get from game to game. He's going to bring you high assists one game. Next game is going to bring you a lot of threes. Low effort.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's always going to bring you the rebounds. The numbers will always look good when it comes to like the rebounds. His assist numbers aren't as high as they used to be, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he's letting the guards run do their job. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they're
Yeah.
supposed to do.
You see the chat?
Um, yeah, I was going to get to that as well. But yeah, he's there's some things that we want to see better. 5 for 20 tonight.
Who's
Julius,
this?
5 for 20. 5 for 20.
Julius Randle. That
He
brother,
took
man.
5 shots. Now, the other game when we played, I believe the Celtics, and I didn't know what to believe with the Kemba thing because whatever. 21 shots, I believe he took, and he made 8, I believe. Now, that's a little bit better. So, that's mid 30s percentage wise. That looks a lot better than 25%, 5 for 20. Taking 20 shots and making 5, being the guy who's on the floor more than anyone else, the best player on the court. 1 for 5 from 3.
There was a shot he took in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks are up. And it's one of those situations where it's 5.5 minutes left in the game. You just got to put points on the board. There was
Yeah,
nobody in the paint. And this motherfucker shooting a 3-point. And it's like,
yeah.
dude, like there's 5 minutes left in the game, and then he missed it, and like they get the rebound. It's like, dude, like we trying to add like if he knocks it down, that's great, right?
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah.
complaining.
Mhm.
Still a bad shot. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, dude, like it just seemed like there were times when the Knicks got lazy and they just sat there and nobody wanted to run, nobody wanted to move.
Right.
It's like, yo, let's get these 2 points. Let's stack it up. Let's make it a 7-point game. Let's make it a 9-point game.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like that. Because what happens is the other team comes down. It seems like it happens to us every night. The other team comes down and they knock down a 3. Like it ain't even like a regular score. They knock down a 3 off your missed shot because nobody wanted to get to the paint.
Yeah.
So I mean, the 5 for 20. I mean, he had a sneaky little double. So did Mitch. He had a double.
Mitch's wasn't sneaky.
No, Mitch's. No, he had a sneaky double. Mitch's wasn't sneaky.
Yeah.
He grabbed a lot of rebounds, a lot of putbacks. He was our leading scorer, which I don't know if that ever happens with Mitch, but
No.
I'm happy for him tonight.
I mean, when Mitch is your leading scorer, it says a lot about what's going on.
Yo, what do you think is going on with RJ Barrett and these cats? Like,
I'm not worried about RJ. I'm not worried about RJ, and I'm going to continue not to worry about RJ because RJ is not someone who has the experience that all the guys in front of him have and are supposed to be utilizing the right way. I think he needs to be in a position where he can create more offense. He's not a spot up shooter. It's never going to be RJ's game. So when you make him a spot up shooter, yeah, there's gonna be some games where he goes 0 for 7.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't have that. That's not the game RJ's supposed to be playing. He makes it work because RJ's just one of those guys. He's gonna do his job. Sometimes he just makes shots, sometimes he does it. But one thing he'll always do is he's always going to play defense, grab rebounds, make the right pass. He's still learning, but at the same time, RJ and Uncle Fulio talks about it a lot from Nothing But Knicks. He says it a lot that RJ needs to play with the second unit more, and there's a notion that he should come off the bench. Everyone's saying he should come off the bench. Whether he comes off the bench or not, I think that he should play more with the second unit. I think that he just fits more with them. He's able to be more of a creator with them. He doesn't have to worry about Kemba or Julius. I don't think there's a playmaker outside of Derrick Rose on the second unit that's going to take the ball out of RJ's hands. Burks doesn't do it.
Who starts in his place? You think Burks?
If they go that way, but they're not going to do that. It's never going to happen that way.
No,
RJ's never going to come off the bench.
They're gonna have RJ's got to figure it out.
Yeah, and he's gonna figure it out. You looked at him tonight. He ended up with 8 3 and 3, and he got those 8 in the fourth. If he just connects on 2 shots per quarter, that's six more shots that he's made. And what's that? 12 points at minimum, and he's with 20, and that's just with 2 shots made a quarter. And I think RJ with rhythm, because you even saw it with Grimes with rhythm. His rhythm was off a little bit. RJ's rhythm is off. But anyway, I don't feed too much into that. I do think there is a concern with Julius. I think he is also the reason why we don't see a lot of Obi minutes, obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's always been the situation.
Obviously, but I mean, it sucks that Obi is actually one of the guys who's a reserve, who's coming in and actually giving you something that you're not getting from other guys.
Right.
But you can't play him because you got Julius. Let's jump over to the chat. What's going on, y'all? Sorry it took me so long. Shout out to King Ribby. RM, salute, chat, like and share. Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you, Raul, and here, of course. What's going on, Big Bro? Joe, my man. Of course, he said I'm back from our Knicks content hiatus. It's been a minute. Yeah, you've been gone. You've been trying not to take a lot of.
Hitched, or is that why he was going so long?
No, he's just on a hiatus. We've been losing a lot.
Oh, it's easier to go on hiatus when we losing.
He hasn't been.
Boy,
he hasn't had the urge to actually sit here and sit through some Knicks content, and I don't blame him because I haven't wanted to sit here and talk about him. Jose Garcia, what's going on, man? 11 minutes, 7 points.
Garcia be having the stats. He ready to go.
Yes, sir. 11 minutes, 7 points. 3 from the field for Obi. Best athlete on the team, makes good decisions when he's in there. Does not always makes the best decisions, but he does make majority of decisions he makes is off instinct and pretty smart. There was a few times he got the ball and he got tied up. And you kind of want to see more creation from him in those situations. But Obi will get it. I just think he's not going to get a chance to get a lot of those minutes with Julius here. I don't know what this team is going to do long term when it comes to Julius and the development of guys like Quickly, Obi, RJ, who need the ball in their hands, especially as they grow. I'm not putting my flag on the let's trade Julius island. I'm just looking at the future and how they're going to be effective. The same way I was always wondering how RJ, Julius, and Mitch will be able to be effective. The only way they can do that is if there's shooters around them, and the only other positions around them is the point guard and the shooting guard position. So you have to have great shooters at those positions in order for RJ, Mitch, and Julius Randle to work. And that's last year's version of Julius at that, by the way. But anyway, ugly W. Jose says, we need easier shots. Obi should have played more. Fast breaks. You can't miss those. You don't get a lot of those with Julius. Obi definitely should have played more for sure. Grimes in for defense for Fournier. I like that. I really love it. Pick and roll with Mitch is lovely, especially with Kemba Walker.
He's the guy to do that pick and roll with. He's gonna have Mitch. Mitch is gonna learn a lot from playing with him at the pick and roll.
For sure. Joe, prayers up for Dobbs. My man Dobbs from the TFE. I got the hoodie on for y'all today. Prayers up for my guy Dobbs. He has COVID and he's on I think on a ventilator. So just prayers up. You know what I mean? Hopefully everything turns out well and he'll be good. You know what I'm saying? No worries. Huh?
We met Dobbs that weekend at the.
Nah, he wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Okay.
Nah. Jose, who Julius 25% from the field. The shots are not easy. Not Obi easy. Listen, I'm gonna start calling you Jose Toppin in a second. No, but listen, that's going to be a constant as long as RJ. I mean, as long as Julius is here, as long as Obi's playing behind him. I don't see how they can continue playing the same team and at the same position while Obi is improving and this conversation doesn't come up more. You just gotta tip your hat to the fact that he's going to continue developing. He's looking great. He's getting his rhythm back. Of course, he knocked down the three tonight, which is what you want to see. If I think in the chat on the post in TFE today during the game, I believe I saw Joe said if Obi opens up that if he starts knocking the three, that open up his offense, and I believe that's the key. He takes a lot of them. If he can hit 30% at this point, it'll be much of an improvement. Um, RJ's defense is his game for sure.
I was
Who's
gonna
gonna?
say, so that
Yeah,
he put that up there, and that pretty much is right now.
yeah, and you got to feed off of it. And tonight, you don't have to put the ball in his hands a lot if he's not gonna make the shot, but he's still gonna do other things out there. That's gonna bring you some production, and that's kind of what you want from all your guys out there. Um, who's going to stop RJ? Who is going to stop the opposing shooting guard? RJ, for sure. Tibbs doesn't want to hurt Randall's ego. OB better athlete than Randall. For sure. I think Randall's a hard worker, easy to follow in that sense. But from what I've been hearing is that he doesn't socialize as much as the other guys, which is
RJ
probably what no
Julius Randle
Julius.
doesn't socialize.
Not as much as the other guys do with each other, which says a lot. As I mean, he's
Interesting.
one of the other guys that hasn't caught COVID. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he also has a family, so I'm sure he's taking those
Yeah, boy, ain't
precautionary
like can't
measures.
be mad at him for none of that.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? You take those precautionary measures as you can, especially he has a newborn in his house. I'm sure we go to practice and I go right home. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, it has to be like that. Um, but hopefully at some point things change and that makes it easier for these guys to interact a little bit more. Joe said, have you ever listened to Knicks fans when we lose? It's hard to be around. Listen, man, we've been dealing with it. I've been dealing with how 30 almost 34 years next month. Jesus Lord. um when Tibbs pulled Obi with 9 minutes and 41 seconds left in the fourth, I was pissed. Oh man. And the thing is that you start to see these plays, Obi, like with the East Bay dunk. He's done it
He does that
twice.
all the time, though.
Yeah, like it's like second nature to the kid.
It's like he gets the team goes on the road. We got Obi. He was like, all right, we got to put Julius in so he can
Yeah.
finish the job. And that's why Julius got the green light. That's why I was talking about that.
Right.
He's got this green light, and it kind of depending on the night, but which is most nights. The reason why like somebody like Obi looks good is the type of game he plays.
Mm.
And Julius plays like a big point guard, and it's like we don't need a big point guard on the floor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it slows the ball down, it slows the flow. And it's not like I'm just getting on Julius. It's just almost like he said, he's the star. He's supposed to be the star. So you're treating him like one, but he's not playing like one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Um,
We saw it that first game. He was taking the ball out of Kemba Walker's hand. He was like, give it to Julius. Yeah. I'm looking like, why is this boy got a lot of faith in Julius, man.
A lot of it. Wade, what's going on? Wade, he's a for real cap. Come on. I don't know what it is he's talking about. He's probably saying the fact that I'm on after we beat the Timberwolves, maybe. Listen, man, it's holiday season. There's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. And everybody, if you don't know, Cap is another one of my nicknames. I have like 7 of them. Jose Garcia says they need to play Top and Randall together. They did for a while, but
they did for a little bit, and it was like one thing happened, and it was like, all right.
No, I think the only reason why they stopped is because guys got healthy. That's it. You had at that time Taj was out, Nerlens was out, someone else went out on protocol. or was injured, and then Obi was out there with Randall because they really had nobody else to play at that position. Excuse me. Late game.
Mhm.
Um, sending love to the channel. Appreciate you, Raul. Appreciate you, bro. And Joe said, Julie said himself that he's an introvert. I live with an introvert. They don't fuck with the people. Trust me. So do I.
And
They
my
don't fuck with
wife
people.
is a big introvert. I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna call my cousin. She'd be like, why don't you just text me?
Okay, cool. This is echo the same sentiments. So oh,
Like,
now I see why he said that. He said because I called him Jose Toppin.
oh, but that was a slip of the tongue. You ain't do that on purpose. Huh? Come on,
I
cat.
didn't call. I listen. I didn't do it on purpose, but that was
Jose
kind of
Toppin.
wild. That was wild. I mean, I just call him. I only call. What should I call him? Obi Garcia. That sounds better. Obi Garcia. Let's do Obi Garcia, man. Goodness Lord. My man Obi here. Playoff lineup should be interesting this year. Speaking of playoffs. Okay. Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna bring up the schedule in the next few days. What are we right now? Are we 15 and 18 or
16,
16?
18.
16 and 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at our schedule in the next couple of days, and it's right now, I think we play the Pistons next, Oklahoma City Thunder, Toronto Raptors, Indiana Pacers, and Boston Celtics twice. Then you got the Spurs, Mavericks, Hawks, Hornets. Now, Timberwolves again, Pelicans. Goodness, we got a lot of winnable games here in the month of January.
Hey, you know what else
Clippers,
is happening in January?
Cavaliers. Oh, what on the 22nd? You know what I'm saying?
22nd. That boy, yo, that boy, he getting up there now.
Listen,
Word.
man. Out the
Yo,
January
we got a
22nd.
game January 22nd. Let me know.
No, we got a game on the 23rd, and it'll be against the Clippers. So the game that we're going to call my birthday game will be against the Pelicans, not against the Clippers. I'm not gonna do that to
So we
myself.
gotta win that one. We gotta
Gotta
make
win
some
that
phone
one.
calls. Like, yo, y'all can't lose that
I
game.
can't lose that game. But I bring this up to say that between the Pistons, Thunder, Raptors, Pacers, Celtics twice, and they're dealing with some stuff right now with the COVID, but they've shortened the protocol length
5 days,
to 5
6
days
for
from
people
10
who are vaccinated.
for
Then
people who
6
are
days.
vaccinated, which is 90% of the league at this point.
Right.
Um, so needless to say, I think that when we play Boston home and away, they're probably going to have their entire team back, depending on if these guys get sick again, because you know how rapidly it's been happening. Um, but Pistons, Thunder, Raptors, Pacers. I think if we can get a game against the Sunday against the Raptors, we have to beat them. Um, we kind of owe it to them.
Mhm.
Pacers as well. The last time we played them, we kind of owe it to them. Did we beat them the last time? No, I think they beat us the last time we played the Pacers. I believe they beat us the first time and we beat them the second time. I believe, but regardless, winnable game. Celtics, we beat them. Did they beat us the second time they played? Yes, they did. They came and they beat us back. Isn't that right? The second time we played the
Who's this?
Celtics.
Detroit
No, the Celtics.
Celtics.
Did they beat us the second time?
I think the Celtics beat us one game. They beat us once.
Yeah, they beat us once. They beat us the second time. We beat them the first time because we beat them on opening night. That's right. That's right. Um, very winnable games. Within the next 5 games, you got at least 3. I think you should knock out. OKC, Pistons, no excuses. I don't care. But figure out how to get a win versus the Pacers, versus the Raptors. I think we need to finish this little run here over 500 at least at 500, like nothing lower,
At this point,
because
I'm hoping we finish the season at 500.
you would rather us finish the season at 500.
I mean, at this point, the way they playing, I'm hoping that we at least get 500. You know how like in the beginning of the season we was like,
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what
you
you're
know what
saying.
I mean? I'm hoping we at least do that. Like,
Uh, I
what's that?
think we
41 and
should be.
41.
Yeah, I don't think we should be that bad. But we've seen we've seen it happen this year. I don't know. This is a completely different roster. I think if these guys start playing with joy every night, I think yeah, it's possible to beat whoever on any given night, but I'm not sure. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, the Knicks website, the app, they don't even give you like the past games unless I gotta look at something.
Yeah, and I have to look on. I'm probably gonna look through Bleacher Report and check that. Jose Garcia says, I like that name, Jose Topping. He likes it. He likes it, Wave. He likes the Jose type Topping. I was called Jose Isaiah back in the days, not to age myself, Jose Isaiah. Okay. Maybe had a little Isaiah Thomas game to you. You know what I'm saying? Had the little ball handle and taking it to the rack and all that. Knicks got Knicks got to make the playoffs. Are we really having this conversation this year after what happened last year?
I mean, they getting a little scary.
A little.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, bro, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how long it's going to go on.
I don't know
But
what's
they
going
need
on
to
either.
figure
They
it out.
got Kemba starting. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're gonna end up doing. They gonna drop him after the whole team healthy. I don't know what's up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what happens after Derrick Rose returns from his 8 week, which also, by the way, we never talked about. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
The
the
whole,
ankle thing. It was like he wobbled off the court a little bit. You thinking, all right,
then he
you
missed
know,
a game or two here or there, and all of a sudden you hear he has surgery. I'm like, surgery?
they talking about 8 weeks. It's like,
6 to 8
oh,
weeks. I'm like, whoa, what? When? So now Kemba's got to play. Kemba's got to play.
Kemba at
But
least for 8 weeks.
at least for 8 weeks. And I do like the
You put
fact
that
that
on
it,
Twitter. Didn't you
and
put
I,
that on Twitter?
yeah, I said, well, needless to say, Kemba's not going anywhere for 8 weeks
For 8 weeks.
because you're gonna have to have that lead guard there. Not only that, Kemba's been playing some basketball recently. Tonight didn't look the greatest. He ended up with 10 points, but at least he's being aggressive. He's still getting downhill. Um, it was one bad game out of all of the games that we played because the other game we only had 10 points. At least he had a triple double with it. You know what I'm saying? So he's been doing his thing. But yes, the Knicks have to make the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs. Like this, after it would be typical Knicks. I don't think anyone would ever take the Knicks serious again if they didn't make the playoffs this year. Because it's just you can't have the kind of seasons you had last year and then come in and lay an egg like we've been doing. All winnable games. We should definitely be above 500. Jose Garcia says 48 and 34. I like that number. 48 and 34
48 and 34 for what? How we gonna finish the
for the
season?
season. For the season, right around
I hope.
50. Yeah, I mean, if we can get near 50 wins, they were saying that we were only going to win 41 and a half. I think. Well, how many wins did they say we're going to? I think they did say 41 and a half games, something like that. Yeah, because it was 21 and a half last year, and we basically doubled that or something like that. Now they were saying this year we will only be 41 and a half, and we were upset because it was like, whoa, this is going to be 81 games this year. So you mean to tell us we're going to be a 500 team? Right. So now we're looking at us play and we're sitting here having this conversation. Joe says, "Nah, Kemba is a starter. Tibbs can't bench him again. That shit would ruin the locker room." I mean,
yeah, like he's gonna look. He's gonna look bad if he does that. If he
as
comes
far as
running
I'm
up out there
concerned,
talking about, yo, we back. So Kemba, who dropped 41, 29, 21, 32.
yeah, triple double, first Nick
Yeah,
do it
yeah. And the crowd is like, we want Kemba, and then you talking about you gonna bench him. Want to see how that look?
Listen, man. I think Kemba is a lock. He's a lock. Simply because if you look at Derrick Rose, who is the guy that you trust the more Tibbs, you clearly can't stay healthy.
My thing is this: is forget about the healthy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like because if we're gonna have that conversation, Derrick Rose can't stay healthy.
No, that's right? What I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah. Derrick Rose, he can't stay healthy. So my thing is, he didn't say I'm a tinker with the lineup. He got to do it all the way out. And then the Knicks kept losing. It's not like we started winning after he got cut out.
Like now he has to play for the rest of the season. Like
right, you can't do that because I'm not gonna be a big fan of this dude if he plays him like that.
Right,
because that's like a bad look. And
especially after what he's done. Yeah,
after what he's done and he come back, you got to set him up nice. Who's gonna be running with the rock? Who's that guy?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you can't have this with this guy coming out here dropping. So because we knew that Kemba Walker wasn't going to be the defender that Alfred Payton was, but we knew he could score way better, and he does. And he dropped 40 something one night and 29 another night.
Yeah.
You now, as a coach, you got to figure out how to get that out of him or to put him in position to do that. Everybody's gonna have a bad game,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to put your players in a position. So now we know as fans and spectators that this dude is still capable of this.
Right.
Maybe you should give a back-to-back. Maybe he get a night off or something like that to keep him healthy, and he can drop 41. And maybe you don't bench him the whole game. Like he can't contribute.
We benched him for 10 games. Yeah, it was like 10 games he benched him.
10 games they benched him for.
And my thing was, you publicly made him the scapegoat. And that in turn didn't make you look any better. So now people can question your job the same way you question Kemba's.
Right.
So, it's like, damn, I didn't, you wouldn't think that this would play out this way, given what was going on. When we were sitting there, I was one defending it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't. I'm like, listen, he hasn't been looking good.
Yeah.
And he didn't look good. Right. But you can't deny someone being a pro. You can't deny, like you said earlier on Twitter, the consummate pro, sitting there still coaching guys, still laughing and joking with guys, being the first one off the bench whenever guys make a big play or not a big play. He's just there with his energy. You cannot do that again. And like I said, I was one that was sitting there like, I don't know, it ain't looking right. But at that time, I'm still standing by my decision. Kemba just came back and proved that he shouldn't have been sacked. And I love that. I love that. Don't come back and still lay an egg. You know what I mean? Come back and look like a different player.
That's why, like I said, I have a lot of respect for him because when he came back, he was a pro when he got benched.
Mm-hmm.
Pro when he came back. Nothing changed. He wasn't out there looking like he was angry. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Or he didn't look like he was greedy and he was going to take over. Right. That boy played basketball the right way. He did his thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he showed. So like now he put like we just talked about. He put the coach. He put Tibbs in the peculiar spot.
Yeah, sticky situation. Yeah.
Go ahead, bench me.
Go ahead, bench him. See what happens.
Yeah.
Because now you know that it ain't gonna get no better after you bench me. Like you know for a fact. Even with all of the defense I don't play, it ain't gonna get no better.
Hey, but that like I always say, what do you think about the coaching there? Because that's a coaching situation. You got to figure out how to get these dudes out here playing and put them in the right situation. You're giving the ball to Julius to run up the court. That's not his strong suit.
Nope.
Shouldn't be dribbling.
Not when there's an all-star point guard on your team.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? And all the things you've accomplished, and you said he's a great guy, he's a great person, he's great all otherwise. It's kind of wild. It's kind of like
after the last game on Christmas, and he's standing there with Kemba, and he says to Julius Randle, they asked him, they said, what is it about Kemba? He said he's the heart and soul of this team. Oh shit, that was quick.
But see, here's my thing. This is what I said off the rip. I didn't know it was gonna happen like this or whatever. But I already said that before the season.
You said that was his team. You said that,
and it should be. I'm sorry, Julius Randle, because he showed us with that his professionalism, dude. Like that, I respect that dude so much.
Yeah,
because they talked about on TV how like a lot of other dudes would be in there like this. Yo, nah, I ain't playing. And you see how dudes sit on the bench, they not up there cheering, they not doing none of that. You see him up there, he got his mask on,
right,
and he's showing fans like, yo, he's been like a real pro, and I'm like super proud of that dude because he's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He comes out there, he's a pro, he says all the right things. And he's never off point with that. Like that dude is on point with everything he's saying to the media.
Yeah.
He is on point. And then he comes in there and he's showing his ass like that. Yo, dude, like that. See, toxic Knicks fan, he said, I hate Tibbs.
I hate Tibbs. Yo, he said, Dre, Mitch looking, huh? Mitch looking good. I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, because he was looking horrible for a little while. I hear you. He was looking horrible for a while though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell him not to get smart in the chat. Hey, Toxic. Come on, man.
Not to get smart in the chat. He said, he's going to throw a block party when they fire Tibbs.
Toxic. Mitchell's looking bad. Yeah, I'm gonna throw a block party when they fight you. I was thinking the same thing. You know, it's funny. A few games
You think
back,
about throwing the block party?
yeah, right here, right on my block, dead end street. Ain't nobody come down here. Is easy.
Fire.
But
Word.
one thing I was thinking about that. I was like, who would they hire? Like, who would the and I wasn't thinking like, yo, they need to fire Tibbs.
Right.
But if they moved on, who would be that guy for the squad that we have, or the squad that we're looking to have? You know what I mean?
I don't care what the name is. I'm tired of names. I'm looking for someone who knows how to run some offense.
I'm not
That's
saying that
it.
it's got to be a big name. I'm not saying like it's got to be Mark
No,
Jackson.
no, 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 no. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
whoever it is, don't go for the big name because
You got to go for the effective coach. Remember we had that the interim coach, and he was like the best coach, like smoking.
Mike Miller.
Yeah.
I think if you gave him this roster, not to say that he'd be doing better than Tibbs. I don't think that with this team, I don't think even with last year's team, Mike Miller would have made them as good as they were last year.
Oh, not
but
last
I
year.
will say that.
No. I think we had a little stroke of luck there, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say that I think that Coach Tibbs, the style he coached us worked for last year.
It worked for last year.
It
but
worked
now
for last year.
ain't playing like that anymore. So now it's kind of like
right. We need
adjust?
more of an offense. We need more of an offense, and I think if Mike Miller had this roster, would he be running it to perfection? No, but I mean, the guy worked for. He work under
Hold on, Jack.
Greg Popovich. He
This
has
is
the experience with running offense. I think there's, especially when like I talk about all of the motions that you see and you don't see with this team. Everything is just pick and roll or 2-man game on one side, and everybody on the other side is standing there watching.
Hold on. You don't think that with the team that we had, that Mike Miller wouldn't be doing better with the team that we have now?
I'm not gonna say better. Nah, I'm not gonna say he hasn't proved it. I can't say he's gonna do better. I just can't say it. I believe that he's a better offensive coordinator than
I'm not saying versus
Tibbs?
I'm not saying versus Tibbs. I'm just saying if he had the team he had, you don't think he'd be doing a better job like with the team we have now. I'm not saying against Tibbs or any other coach. I think that if you got a better squad, it's easier to coach. You know what I mean?
If he had this team, would it be as bad?
Like for example, you get Steve Kerr.
Yes.
If he got this squad, you think he's coaching us to the finals with this squad?
I wouldn't say the finals, but they'd be way better than it, especially if you look at the type of offense that Steve Kerr runs, and that's the reason why I wanted Steve.
Got a dope little offense, but the thing that was our calling card last season was
defense. And like I said, that only worked because of the team. That's not what the rest of the league was running. If you look at the rest of the league, everything was offensively, like just based off of sets, off ball movement, pick and rolls, like. That's what the offense was based off of last year. It worked for us in the regular season, but when you don't got no half court offense in the playoffs, you are not going anywhere. It's just not going to happen. If you don't have a point guard in the playoffs, it's not going to happen. So I think that's what a lot of it was. I think a lot of it was these guys just don't have the right team just yet, mixed with the right coach to make the team look the way it's supposed to look. That's it. That's all I'll say. But yeah, he says if you give Tibbs 2 superstars, most elite teams have, and no one would question anything about Tibbs. That's not true because that's not true because if it's Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, you're going to be questioning Tibbs the same way they're questioning Frank Vogel.
If they losing like the Lakers are.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You don't know that it's going to work just because you have 2 superstars. It has to work. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Tibbs, and I knew what his offensive shortcomings were long before he came here. So that's why when he came here, I wasn't really mad that he got here, but I was like, all right, cool. Whatever you do that well, but just add some more wrinkles to your offense. Really,
yeah. Let me get to with Joe because Joe is making it sound like we're crying about the coach or whatever the case.
No, he's talking. Trust me, Joe's talking to the Knicks fans.
Okay,
trust me, he's talking to Knicks fans.
Okay, because I was just gonna say, I'm like, we know the coach is stubborn. We all seen lineups that we didn't favor with Tibbs or whatever the case is. So there's a lot as far outside of 2 All-Stars. And I think 2 All-Stars is easy for any. I think 2 good players, 2 great players on any team makes it easier for any coach. You don't have to coach as good when you have great players. And I think that when you have like defenders, like which is what I like. Did you see that play we had today by Q Grimes?
Yes.
And how he was hanging out, and the dude tried to pat it, he stole it and scored right there.
Yep.
I feel like you don't get that from any of these older cats. Like a score like that could turn a whole game around.
Right. Better players on this team for sure, which is why I'm not suggesting we get rid of Tibbs. Also,
I don't know. I'm not saying we need to get rid of Tibbs. Tibbs is annoying. I think that he's like, we sticking with Tibbs because
Tibbs is Tibbs. Well, we need a better team.
Right. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of things, but what I'm looking at Tibbs with the lineups, with the whole benching of Kemba Walker early,
right?
Like that's we were talking. That's how we got to this point in the conversation.
Right.
We talk about benching Kemba 100%, and then he comes back and he's playing great. And it's like, what was that? An overlook? Was that something the office told him he's got to do?
Yeah,
like,
we don't know. Yeah,
we don't know what that was. So of course, that'd be like you in the back of your head. You're like, all right. Looking at you, Tibbs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With these lineups, and you're not playing the young kids in defensive situations. So it's all of that stuff. It's things we look at. I'm not saying I hate Tibbs to the point we need to get rid of him. I think that Tibbs did a great job. I think that he has to do a bad job consistently for me to be like, all right, it's time for the brother to go. And knowing the New York market, he would, if he did perform badly, they'd probably get rid of him. He'd be gone
soon. Yeah. Well, my thing about the Tibbs thing is, I'm just saying the same shit I've always said about Tibbs before he even got here. Great defensive coach. I need to see more wrinkles in the offense. That's it. And he hasn't proved to me that he's changed it, no matter who's on the team. I've seen teams with bad players. Listen, I get the 2 superstar point, but I've seen teams with their stars on the bench run amazing offense. And you don't need a star to run a great offense. You just need some guys. You need a system. You need some guys in a system that understand the system, and you make it easy for them to understand this system. And I'm not. Maybe he has hit his cap when it's come to that. And that's not also not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, if he has better players on this team, we absolutely won't be in the position that we're in. And I also think it's early. I still think it's early. I think we're just now getting to that chemistry that we've wanted Julius and Kemba to be at. I'm going to give that some time to develop because I think Julius and Kemba they need each other more than they think they do. You know what I'm saying? You got to run some pick and roll with Julius and Kemba. Like, you got to do that. You got to have a 2-man game with those guys. I'm tired of seeing the only 2-man game with Julius is really just mainly with Evan Fournier. And that's it's very frustrating to watch. I think there should be more playmaking with Kemba.
Kemba should be the playmaker. He should be involved.
Yeah.
That's his job. He's the point guard. He's the floor general. Like I just don't get it. It seems like once he gives the rock up to Julius, and they on the strong side or whatever, and it just seems like they forget that he's there. Yeah. Unless they get into trouble sometimes. And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's annoying to watch.
Yeah.
It just looks like they just totally forget that he's there. It drives me nuts.
I think the one decision I think they should make before the bench the trading of Julius Randle, as everybody wants. I think the one rotation move they should make is just taking Evan out of the starting unit. And I was
going to ask you about that boy, man. Like if he's knocking shots down, it's a cool game. It's cool.
It's also not great offensively. Looks bad.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, because I was like, when they benched Kemba, when he benched Kemba, we were saying both of them weren't looking good. Kemba and what's this kid's name?
Evan
Fournier. Yeah, and Fournier, like on the defensive end from the very beginning, I was like, that boy look a little suspect on the defensive end. Like they do like a little move, he's all the way out the way. You know what I'm saying? But so what? He's out there playing. And then we kept losing, and I was like, what if they benched the wrong guy? And I'm not saying I think Evan needs to be benched. I don't think either one of them need to be benched completely. Right. You know what I'm saying? But what if the role was a little bit different, or the minutes distribution was a little bit different? But like that brings us to coaching. But I don't know what Tibbs is seeing. Like that's always the tough part from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yo, why don't he try this dude? Like, why was it? Why did it have to be Kemba? Yeah, I don't know. It's just because when I saw it, Tune hit me. It was like, yo, they benched. They took. I was like, no, they didn't. Then I saw the
Yeah,
article,
he
and
was
then it
like,
was like, yeah,
yeah,
they took.
they really Benson, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
That's wild.
Yeah, I never saw that coming, but New York market, you know how it goes.
Joseph, and Joseph, the bench runs the offense just fine. It's not due to Tibbs. I think they just run the offense that. If you look at when
Well,
the
he said
offense,
that,
when you look at the offense that the bench is running when they're doing well, it's usually fast breaks. You don't run that offense like it's a fast break. Most of the reason why this quickly gets out in the break, you got Obi getting out of the break. RJ when he's with them, he gets out in the break. You look at Grimes, Derrick Rose. I mean, there's not much half court offense. That's the problem. There's way too much half court offense with the starters, and I don't think there's enough offense to run between those guys. You know what I'm saying? The bench is different. You can run a little bit half court offense with the bench because you got guys that do different things. They can attack, they can run back. You got a little bit more athleticism at positions that aren't the five. So like Obi, he can get in there, set a pick, and run around, catch you an alley oop. I just think that there's wrinkles. There's no way you're gonna convince me that Tibbs doesn't need to add wrinkles to his offense. He just does. I'm tired of watching. Joe, you watch basketball more than I do. Guarantee you, bro. You watch a Knicks game and you look at just watch whenever Julius Randle and Evan Fournier, let's say, is having a two-man game on one side of the court, and look at what the other three guys are doing. They're just standing there. That's an offensive set. You're telling those guys to stand there. That's your set for them. So I do think that he needs to add wrinkles. Is he a terrible offensive coordinator? I can't say that. No, I'm not gonna say you're a terrible offensive coordinator. I do think he's limited, but it's also based off his like I said, the guys that you have on your team. You got certain players on your team that just aren't going to be, especially in that starting unit. Starting unit just doesn't look good. If you swap out Evan for maybe Grimes consistently, I don't see how that hurts the team. I just don't see how it hurts the team. But that's it. He says Jose says you're not using Kemba as fools with Fournier on the court with him. Yeah, it's just not really gonna look good. Mitch Randall, RJ Grimes, Kemba. Yeah, that's just exactly what I just said. Yep. That's the five that I would see. Evan 25 minutes per game and diminishing.
That's
He
my
is
thing with
looking
Evan.
older.
That Evan
He's
is
starting to look
not
like his body is breaking down.
Yeah, no, it's almost funny. Like Jose, Evan has the way his body looks. It looks like It almost looks like he's overweight, but he's not overweight. Like his
if he
legs,
stopped
like his
playing
legs
basketball
square.
today, if he stopped playing basketball today in like 3 years, he'd be overweight.
Yeah, like he just looks like he just looks like his. It's funny. He's like one of those guys that I think if we all being honest, I think he is where he is because of his jump shot.
Absolutely. If he's not making shots, he's not in the league.
Right. So like if he's not doing that, like he's not like a starter. He might be on a lot of teams. He's not a starter anyway. You know what I'm saying? We're dealing with. There's a lot of teams he's not a starter.
He's not a starter. I mean, Boston realized that. They got rid of that quick. If you look at, and I say it all the time, the thing that I like about RJ is that even when his shot isn't falling, there's other things that he does. RJ tonight still had what did he have? 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. You're never going to get that out of Evan Fournier. I mean, Evan had 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and no defensive stats. But the thing is that when Evan's shot isn't falling, I mean, he had 13 points tonight. So you can take his 13, 2, and 2. That's fine. But when Evan's shot isn't falling, those games where he's 1 for 7, look at the other stats he's bringing to you. He's focused so much on making shots that he's not even looking for a rebound, a steal, a block. Definitely not an assist.
My biggest thing with Evan If there's a loose ball right in front of him, that boy will sit there. He'll look at it. He'll be like, which one of y'all wanted more? That
It's
dude
like
is like,
it's like he knows he doesn't have the foot speed to get to it.
yo, dude, it's like either that or he's scared. He's got, I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things like that heart for that
Yeah.
aspect of the game
Mm.
is just not there. Like if you're trying to be a shooter, like, and we needed shooters. We needed somebody like Kemba to penetrate. Then you have somebody like Fournier out there to shoot the ball. And like those games, he has good games. But if he has those games, he's not looking good, and he's like not shooting. It's almost like you said, there's no more stats to justify him really being out there. And early in the season, the coach was benching him in the fourth. You've seen him.
Which I wouldn't mind them going back to at this point.
Right. But I mean, we also dealing with this the protocol.
COVID, guys being out.
So
Yeah.
you need him on the floor more. You need somebody out there. They went and called up Damian Dotson.
Yeah, he hasn't even been playing. I mean, he played the first game or two.
Yeah.
He asked what was his plus minus, and Evans' plus minus was -3, and Kemba's was -3, and they both were the only ones with a negative plus minus. And this is kind of what I was saying the other day. The games that they played well in, which was versus I forgot what was the second team. The first team was definitely against the Celtics, and maybe the second team was the Rockets. I don't know who it was, but it was a back-to-back game. Not back-to-back game, but games back.
Plus minus only -3.
No, yeah, but I mean, I think it was like I mentioned earlier. Excuse me, y'all. Hell of a day.
You good?
What? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Your volume went up dumb high just real quick for a quick second.
Is it back down?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. For some reason, that's what I was talking about. When Kevin, I do this all the time. Kemba and Evan. Jesus Lord. We gotta move them away from each other.
Kevin Knox? No.
Kevin Knox? No, Kemba and Evan. It's like they turn into one player. Kemba and Evan, in order to be effective, they need to take a lot of shots. And guys like RJ suffer with that. Guys like Obi suffer with that. When you give a lot of shots to guys who, first of all, they have to take these shots because they have to feel some sort of rhythm on the floor. And if they're not taking those shots, they're not going to get rhythm. So they have to take at least 10 shots. And now Kemba Walker he took 11 shots and made 3 baskets. Evan Fournier took 14 and made 5. Now RJ took 10 and hit 3. So now if you're just looking at the box score, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's Quentin Grimes 4 for 11. Now I'm telling you all of these percentages, and you guys are thinking about how the game actually played out. Quentin Grimes was 4 for 11, and RJ was 3 for 10. Just think about that. And Quentin Grimes shot way better than RJ this game, didn't he?
But Quentin Grimes, that boy catches fire.
But he clearly only made one more shot than RJ and took one more. So sometimes it's really in the flow of the offense, right? The flow of the offense of Evan Fournier's 5 and 14. Do you remember how that looked? Didn't look great. There was no way you could sit here and say that Evan's 25 and 14 looked great. It just didn't look great. There was some shots that he hit early. I think he had 10.
Yeah, he was nice early.
Yeah, he had 10 in the first quarter or 9 or something like that, and he ended the game with 13. Kemba, bless his heart, 3 for 11, 27.3% from the field, 3 for 7 from the 3. I don't care about Kemba. That's the guy I want taking those shots. Evan, a little bit different because, and it's weird because a lot of the same reasons why we can't deal, and it sucks because Kemba was in the game for 33 minutes and he was 3 for 11, and Evan was only in the game for 24 minutes and he was 5 for 14, which is outrageous. He was only in there for 25 minutes and he put up the second most shots on the team and didn't even crack 30 minutes.
Right.
That's a problem, guys. Like, that is one of the things I feel like if there's one thing we could change that would make a huge difference, I think it's Evan Fournier. And I'm not saying trade him. He just can't be in the starting lineup. Get all of those shots on the bench, bro. Like I won't mind Grimes taking those shots for you in the starting unit because simply simply because I think he is a lot better defensively, and he's not as much of a liability, and he's probably a better shooter at this point than Evan Fournier is. So if at this point, if what does Evan Fournier do that's better than Quentin Grimes than what he brings to the floor? I really don't know.
Definitely don't defend.
He doesn't defend. Streaky shooter. If he's not hitting shots, he's not bringing you anything else.
Right.
I don't really know. I don't know. But anyway, I think we need to figure something out. Like he said, Evan Fournier can kick rocks. That's why Boston let Fournier go. Uh, you can't have Fournier and Evan in there together. Man, it's just clear.
Well, before the season started, they said they were like the like one of the top most dangerous pairs in the league.
Well, it was also on a small sample size. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was only over a course of a year and change. So it was an extremely small sample size. I mean, they did play well together when they did have their little thing. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is now, and I don't even think that they're playing bad together. I think it's just Evan just doesn't fit the starting lineup. That's just really what it is.
He
I
looks like
think
an old man. I think if I could sum it up that way, he looks like an old dude
he
out there.
does look like he's moving. He's laboring a little bit out
Yeah, it
there.
looks like his back ain't working right. Like he can't get low. Like he's very slow on his on the step.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody got the drop on him.
Everybody, listen, man. That's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all. The chat, y'all kept us going tonight. Jose, Toxic, Joe, of course. Who else we had in there? Early on, we had somebody else. What was my man? My man's name. Of course, Wave was in here. What's going on, Wave? King Ribby RM. Listen, man. Thank you guys for being here. If you are here, please hit that like. Spread the word. Get some more people to subscribe and come here for some good content. Got one
Some
more,
conversation.
some more conversation. What was this in the chat I just now saw? And now this thing doesn't want to move out of the way. Come on, what's going on here? There we go. Shout out to Toppin. Jose, yo, listen, man. We gonna get you an Obi jersey somehow one of these days. We're gonna get you some. Or Dreas draw you up a nice little Obi shirt. Come on, man.
I
They've
got
been
it.
waiting.
I got the
They've been
Obi
waiting for you.
artwork. Matter of fact, already.
They've been waiting for you, man. Um, he said that this was good. The Kevin, yeah, Kevin. Did they come in a package? Did Kevin come in a package? Yes, clearly, because I can't separate them by name. Kemba and Evan came in a package, clearly, because you can't separate them. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't mind him changing that rotation, throwing Evan to the bench. Um, not as a disciplinary thing, but just as a fit, just a fit thing. But that's all I got. You guys, you got anything else you wanted to drop in there before we got up out of here, man?
Me, nah, man. I'm happy the Knicks got this one. I know. I think that what's happening now with Tampa, our expectations. You're not gonna be running
Yes,
around saying we're gonna be 60 and 22. You know what I mean? So
it was
I
wild.
think that the Knicks. I think what I hope happens from here on out is that the bad play or like the
Mhm.
losing will just like tamper our expectations and they outperform.
Right.
You know, hopefully, wishfully speaking, you know, I'm hoping that that's what how it ends up happening
Yeah.
because you know what I mean. These boys, they some of them complain. We talking about like a trade. I'm just looking forward to see how the Knicks respond. I want to see what Julius does the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be you know the Knicks. I think they're going to figure it out. But I just want to get to the playoffs. But like you said, we hold off on that whole conversation to later.
Yeah.
At least after the All-Star break, we see how that goes.
Yeah, I think they'll figure it out. It's just a question of how and how long. Pause. But yeah, you just gotta just keep chopping at it. Just keep chopping at the bit. Keep hammering nailing it until you figure it out, man. And but yeah, that's pretty much it. The last words for me is please be careful out there with COVID going on. Mask up, Wash your hands. Be careful who you're around. Social distance still. It's not over yet. Clearly, um, we want to get past this as fast as possible. It's a lot of people still getting sick, especially up in New York. You know, New Yorkers are really dealing with a lot more, a lot differently than everyone else is. But yeah, man. So good health, good energy, and that's it. That's it. Let's carry this on to the new year. Tomorrow we are playing the Detroit Pistons at 7 p.m. We may or may not see you guys depending on how the day goes. But yeah, man, and then let's get another dub tomorrow, yo. But
For sure.
that's really all. That's really all I got, man. Dre, you got anything else? That's it.
Nah, man, I'm good money.
Good
Health
money.
and blessings. If we're not out here, if we're not gonna be recording tomorrow, say Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to everybody. When will we see? When is Friday? Friday's game is. Oh no, we'll see you guys. If anything, we'll see you guys Friday. If there's two games between now and Friday, so we might see you guys Friday, December 31st. But actually, probably not. Nah, not gonna see
December
you guys Friday.
31st, we got a
Nah.
special somebody's birthday on December 31st right
Yeah, we
now.
got a sister's birthday, December 31st. We gotta bring the ball in
Yeah,
after the game. Yeah, we're not gonna see you guys. We might see you guys tomorrow. If we don't, we'll see you guys on Sunday. In 2022, we'll see you guys next year if we
yep,
don't see you guys tomorrow. And like we said, man, enjoy, be happy, man, and spread love, yo.
for sure.
Prayers up, my man Dobbs. Speedy recovery and all that, man. Y'all have a good one, man.
Word.
Peace.
It's a blessing.